everybody, welcome back to Unbelievable English. Today, we're going to be talking about a game called Village Pillage. Now, a village is a really nice place to live, and pillaging is stealing forcefully. So in Village Pillage, we're all going to have our own village, and we're all going to try to steal from each other. It's not quite that violent. Village Pillage is actually a really cute game, and it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. In gamer terms, it's a simultaneous action selection game, but that's crazy talk for most of you. It's rock, scissors, papers on both sides. So we're going to sit around the table and we're going to have a hand of cards, and each card does a different thing. We're going to pick one card to use on our neighbor on one side and another card to use on with the neighbor on the other side, and we're going to see how we interact with each other. It's actually a very thinky game where you have to figure out what your neighbor is thinking and what they want to do. And the whole point of the game is we each have our own village, but we want to become a kingdom. And the only way to become a kingdom is to get kingdom-like things. We're going to get a crown, we have to get a scepter, and we have to get a throne. And if we can get all three of those things before anybody else at the table, then we win, and our village becomes a kingdom before anybody else's. The other thing I really like about this game is there's no money. It's all turnips. All right, guys, let's check out the components for Village Pillage. So in Village Pillage, we have our starting hand. These are the cards that every player gets at the beginning of the game. Everybody gets a farmer, a wall, a raider, and a merchant. And you can see that sometimes they do different things against different other cards. So you can see that the symbols for each card are here. The farmer has this wheel. A wall has a brick wall. The raider has crossed swords. And the merchant has a gem, a diamond maybe. Right there. So those are your starting four cards. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be picking one card to use against the person to your left and one card to use against the person to your right. And when you use those cards, you'll see what happens. So the farmer, for example, is a very straightforward card. No matter what, no matter who the opponent is, you can see all four of the symbols are there. No matter what happens, the farmer gains 3 turnips. The wall, on the other hand, is a little bit different. If the wall is facing a raider, then the wall will steal 1 from the player who used that raider and put 1 in the bank, put it in their bank, and I'll explain that in a minute. Against everybody else, instead of stealing, they just gain 1 and then put 1 in the bank. So the wall does different things. The raider doesn't do anything if it's a wall or another raider. Look, there's only the 2 symbols, the farmer symbol and the merchant symbol. And if the raider goes up against either of those cards, they'll steal 4 turnips. And the merchant can buy a relic if you have enough money. But if you don't have enough if you don't have enough turnips, then you can use 1 turnip to buy a card. And all of these other cards here are going to be shuffled together, and they're going to be dealt out 4 at a time for everybody to buy from. So let's take a look, because some of them have some different language. Gain is easy. You get it from the bank, from the supply over here. Gain 5 turnips. That's what the miner does if it's up against a wall. And you exhaust that wall. Well, what does exhaust mean? Exhaust means that you get really, really tired. So this wall would have to sit out for 1 round. And the player who used that wall would have to just let it sit out, and it would not be able to be used in the next round, and then they could pick it back up and use it again later. So that's what exhaust means. Steal
means take from the other player, but not from that player's bank. And we'll talk about the bank in a minute. Banking means putting turnips into the bank to protect it. Then there's a card like the burglar, and you'll see that there are all kinds of different ones here. So the burglar can steal 4 turnips, including turnips from the other player's bank, but you want to take the turnips that are not in the bank first. And then there are a couple of extra merchants that you might be able to buy. Again, they always let you buy a relic, and then they have special rules that take place if you use it. The bard can take the top card of this face-down pile of cards that will be shuffled together. You can take the top card face down, and you get 1 turnip from the supply. That's really nice. And the doctor, if you can't buy a relic, you can gain 2 turnips. And then you exhaust. Remember, that means put aside the opponent's card for 1 hand. So those are the extra ones of those. We have a chicken. Any ties? Anytime you have a tie, you're going to use the chicken. You're going to flip the chicken. Heads or tails. You call it in the air. And that's the person who will win. We have our turnips. This is the currency. This is the money in the game. So you don't use coins. You use turnips. And then the relics. These are the things that we need to buy to win the game. You'll see in the bank has 2 sides. There's a 2-player side. It says duel. That's the 2-player side. And then there's the regular game side. And if you have 8 turnips to spend, then you can buy this scepter, which is the first relic you need. And you have to go in order. So first you do that one. Then you could buy the crown. Looks like that. And then the last thing, you'd spend 10 turnips, so it's really expensive, to get this throne. Not the throne of swords, but the turnip throne. And the first person to buy all 3 wins the game. We talked about that. And that's it, really. So we'll get a game ready for you guys, and we'll show you how to play. The components are really simple in this game. It's a bunch of cards, a couple of relics, and turnips. And, of course, the chicken to flip. All right, so we're sitting here. We're ready to play. We've got a couple of guests here with us. We've got Eunbelievable, and we've got Gugu, who's going to be sitting over here and playing as well. So, come on, Gugu. Come on up. Come sit over here. Come on, Gugu. Come on. Come take your seat so you can play with us. Come on. Gugu. Good girl. There you go. Excellent job. So, to play the game, the first thing you need to know is that you've got a bank, but you're not always going to put everything in the bank. In this game, we don't have money. We have turnips. We have vegetables. And we are the leaders of a village, and we are trying to have the most successful village, and we want to turn our village into a kingdom. Okay? We're going to start with 4 cards. We've got the farmer, we've got a wall, we've got a merchant, and we've got a raider. Okay? And basically, we're going to be playing rock, scissors, papers on 2 sides with each of the people around us. So I'm going to choose a card secretly to play against you, and I'm going to choose a card secretly to play against Gugu. Okay. And you're going to do the same thing. And Gugu's going to choose cards as well. Okay. And when we do that, the cards interact differently with each other. So if you play a raider, you can steal 4 turnips from me. Not from my bank, though. Only from my just general supply here. But only if I play a farmer or a merchant against you. And you can see the symbols here. Okay? So there's the raider is the crossed swords, merchant is a gem, the wall is a brick wall, and the farmer is I don't know what that is, an orange. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we start with 1 turnip in the bank, and we start with 1 turnip outside the bank. And what we really want to do is spend 8 turnips to get the scepter, 9 turnips to buy the crown, and 10 turnips to buy the throne. If you can buy all of those, you win. First person to buy them wins. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to choose 1 card
to play against me, and 1 card to play against Gugu. So I'm going to choose this card here and this card here. So I've made my choices. I'm playing this card against you, this card against Gugu. Gugu is going to choose to play 1 card against me and 1 card against you. And then you're going to choose, so 1 against me and 1 against Gugu. And then we'll flip them up and see. Ooh. Oh, very good. Okay, so this worked out really nicely for you. And so we always follow the same order. The farmers go first. So farmers gain 3 turnips, and you just kind of put them in your supply, just like that. I'll gain 3 as well, and so will Gugu. So we're all getting some nice stuff. Now, Gugu was not very nice. She tried to steal from you, and that helps you because you have a wall. And against raiders, you steal 1 from Gugu, and then you can put 1 in your bank. 1 turnip goes into your bank, and that's more safe that way. And so your wall went, my wall did not face a raider, so I'm not going to use that top thing, I'm going to use the bottom thing here. And that, so against a farmer, I gain 1, which just means taking it from the supply, and I can put 1 in the bank, so I can put it in the bank like that. And then Gugu used a raider, and that would go next, but it only steals from farmers and merchants, not from walls. So that's the end of that round. That's it. It's really simple. And then everybody takes their cards back. You pick up all your cards, and we do it again. So it's a really simple game. You're trying to get into each other's heads to see what everybody else is going to do to play. So can we play a couple more rounds? So I'm going to choose here, and I'm going to choose here. And then let's see. Gugu's going to play that card and that card against you. And what are you going to do? 1 and 2. Okay. And then once everybody is done and ready, we flip them up. Ooh. Oh, no. Okay. So we follow the same order. Farmers go first. There are no farmers. Then walls go. Gugu's got a wall, but against my merchant, she just takes 1 and puts it in her bank. And then the raiders go. Now, raiders don't do anything against each other, so that cancels out. But this raider here is going to steal from you, so she's going to steal 4. And you have 4 outside of your bank, so Gugu is going to take all 4 of those. She's really mean, and put them on her side of the board here. And then, after the raiders, the merchants go. And now the person who has the least number of turnips goes first. So you can't buy a relic. You don't have enough. You don't have 8. But you can spend 1 relic to buy 1 of these cards so that you have more options. So you spend 1 and you choose a card. Which card would you like? The florist? Okay, and then we get a new one. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is not the 8 that I need. So I'm going to spend 1, and I'm going to buy as well. And I will buy... I'm going to buy the Trapper, because the Trapper doesn't do anything against walls, but that's the only kind of card that she doesn't do anything against. She can do things against farmers and merchants and against raiders too. So I'm going to take that card. And that's it. And we pick up our cards. And we immediately get a new card here. And you see this is a new kind of wall. This is the treasury wall, which does things against raiders. It steals 2 and banks 4, so it's putting lots in the bank. And against everybody else, it gains 1. And we'll just do it again. So I'm going to do this, and Gugu is going to do this. You're playing a florist. Oh, and I'm playing a trapper. That's quite nice. Okay. So, farmers go first. So Gugu's going to gain 3. And you're going to gain 5 because of your florist, which is quite nice. But because it's against a trapper, I'm going to immediately steal 2 of those. See, it says opponent steals 2. If it's a raider, like that. And then after the farmers, the walls go. And unfortunately, Gugu is going to steal from me. Gugu is doing super well in this game. And she's going to put one in the bank. If she ever decides to use one of her merchant cards, she can buy a relic right away. So that's the only wall. And then raiders will go. And my trapper against your florist is going to steal 4. But I can't steal 4 because you only have 3 there outside of your bank. So I'm going to take those 3. Sorry. I know, it's very mean. And then my other raider doesn't do anything against this wall. You do have your merchant, so you can buy a new card. Maybe buy a wall to keep Gugu and me from doing mean things to you. And then we pick up our cards. We take a new card out here. And this is basically how you play. Let's do one more round just to see how we buy the relics. And then we'll call it a day because I think everybody can see how to play. Okay? So we'll do one more round. I'm going to do... Oh, put them face down. You don't want me to see it yet. And then against Gugu, and Gugu's going to do maybe this one and this one, and I'll do this one like that. Okay. And then we flip them all up. Okay, so first things first, your florist is the only farmer. They're going to gain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turnips. Quite nice. And then any walls. And Gugu's wall is going to do bad things to me, so she's going to steal one and put it in the bank. She really is just running this game. And then we'll go to our raiders, and my trapper here against the wall doesn't do anything, which is stinky. And then we're going to let our merchants do their things. And again, the person with the fewest turnips goes first, and that's you. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not enough to buy a relic. But again, you can buy a new card if you want to. Would you like to? Which one would you like? And then I definitely have fewer than Gugu, so I'll go next. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, I have just enough. And I will spend all 8 of these turnips to get my first relic in the race to become a kingdom. And I'll buy that scepter, just like that. And then Gugu will go, and even though Gugu's probably going to have a lot here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even beyond her bank, she's only going to spend the 8 because she has to go in order. So she's going to spend 8, and she's going to buy a scepter as well. And that's how you play Village Pillage. It's a really simple game. It's basically rock, scissors, papers with a little bit of extra. And it's a race. So the winner is going to be whoever can fill up their relic chart first. And that's how you play, guys. See you soon at Unbelievable English.